So we'll be continuing our discussion from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter 19. Chapter is entitled The Lord Instructs Srila Rupa Goswami. We completed yesterday up to text number 151. So today we'll be discussing from text 152 onwards. Jai Jaya Jai Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jai Daita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jai Daita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jai Daita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So text 152. So we'll chant together. মালি হইয়া করে সেই বীজ আরোপণ শ্রবণ কীর্তন জলে করহে সেচন মালি হইয়া করে সেই বীজ আরোপণ শ্রবণ কীর্তন জলে করহে সেচন মালি হইয়া করে সেই বীজ আরোপণ শ্রবণ কীর্তন জলে করয়ে সেচন on Prabhuji side, on Mataji side. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. I like to read the purport also. It's a long purport, but very important purport. Translation. When a person receives the seed of devotional service, he should take care of it by becoming a gardener and sowing the seed in his heart. If he waters the seed gradually by the process of Shravan and Kirtan, hearing and chanting, the seed will begin to sprout. Purport. To live with devotees or to live in a temple means to associate with Shravan Kirtan process. Sometimes neophyte devotees think that they can continue the Shravan Kirtan process without worshipping the deity. But the execution of such Shravan Kirtan is meant for highly developed devotees like Haridas Thakur, who engaged in the Shravan Kirtan process without worshipping the deity. However, one should not falsely imitate Haridas Thakur and abandon deity worship just to try to engage in Shravan Kirtan. This is not possible for neophyte devotees. The word Guru Prasad indicates that the spiritual master is very merciful in bestowing the boon of devotional service upon the disciple. That is the best possible gift the spiritual master has to offer. Those with a background of pious life are eligible to receive life's supreme benefit. And to bestow this benefit, the Supreme Personality of Godhead sends His representative to impart His mercy. Endowed with the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the spiritual master distributes the mercy to those who are elevated and pious. Thus, the spiritual master trains his disciple to render devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is called Guru Kripa. It is Krishna Prasad, Krishna's mercy, that he sends a bona fide spiritual master to the deserving disciple. By the mercy of Krishna, one meets the bona fide spiritual master, and by the mercy of spiritual master, the disciple is fully trained in the devotional service of the Lord. Bhaktilata Bij means the seed of devotional service. Everything has an original cause or seed. For any idea, program, plan or device, there is first of all the contemplation of the plan, and that is called bija or the seed. The methods, rules and regulations by which one is perfectly trained in devotional service constitute the Bhaktilata Bij or seed of devotional service. This Bhaktilata Bij is received from the spiritual master by the grace of Krishna. Other seed called Anna Bhilas Bij include Karma Bija and Jnana Bija. If one is not fortunate enough to receive the Bhaktilata Bij from the spiritual master, he instead cultivates such seed as Karma Bij, Jnana Bij, or political, social or philanthropic Bijas. However, the Bhaktilata Bij is different from these other Bijas. The Bhaktilata Bij can be received only through the mercy of the spiritual master. Therefore, one has to satisfy the spiritual master to get the Bhaktilata Bij. Jasya Prasadat Bhagavat Prasada. The Bhaktilata Bij is the origin of devotional service. Unless one satisfies the spiritual master, he gets this bija or root cause of karma, jnana or yoga without the benefit of devotional service. But one who is faithful to his spiritual master gets the Bhaktilata Bija. This Bhaktilata Bij is received when one is initiated by the bona fide spiritual master. After receiving the spiritual master mercy, one must repeat his instruction, and this is called Shravan Kirtan, hearing and chanting. One who has not properly heard from the spiritual master or who does not follow the regulative principle is not fit for chanting. This is explained in the Bhagavad Gita, Vyapsaya Atmika Buddhi Rekeha Kurunandana. One who has not listened carefully to the instruction of the spiritual master is unfit for chanting or for preaching the cult of devotional service. One has to water the Bhaktilata Bij after receiving instruction from the spiritual master. So it's very, very important and long purport on this verse. Yesterday we discussed about Bhaktilata Bij. How by great fortune one gets Bhaktilata Bij. And that fortune is a very rare fortune. And it is available by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. Brahmanda Brahmite Kono Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhaktilata Bij. So then after getting the seed, what he has to do? You have to first water or first you have to plant? Without planting, if you give water, what will happen? Nothing will happen. So we plant in the soil. The seed is planted in the soil. What kind of soil? Fertile soil. But this Bhaktilata Bij, how, where it has to be planted? In the heart. So heart is the field, right? And this field has to be fertile. Just like we plant the seed here in this floor, and if you keep on giving water, what will happen? The seed will be spoiled. Very good. In the same way, after we receive the process of devotional service given by the bona fide spiritual master in the form of initiation, then we have to plant that seed in our heart. But that heart has to be fertile. So how to determine the heart is fertile or not? heart has to be soft. Soft-hearted, right? So what is the qualification to have soft heart? How to recognize this? His heart is soft and his heart is hard. How to determine? Externally we cannot see the situation of the heart because it is internally situated. So it is said, the devotee who is humble by nature, his heart is soft. And the devotee who is proud, his heart is hard. In Kali Yuga, the heart of the conditioned living entity is very, very hard. Harder than the stone. It is explained the holy name can melt the stone. So powerful. That Bhaktilata Bij, that the holy name is very, very powerful. But it can melt the stone. But it cannot melt the heart. So by this we can understand the heart in Kali Yuga is harder than stone. Our acharyas sang also bhajan on this topic. So what is the conclusion? Our heart is made of what? Harder than stone. What is that material? I say everything in Kali Yuga is steel, right? So our heart is also like steel. Very difficult to melt. That's why Mahaprabhu again and again is requesting, begging, please give up the pride. So unless we give up our pride or ego, it's very difficult to receive the Bhaktilata Bij in our heart. It's not suitable. So in order to have the proper plantation of Bhaktilata Bij, we have to cultivate the quality of humility. Then it becomes fit or suitable to plant the seed of pure devotional service. So then what happens? After seed is planted, what the gardener does? Water. You have to give water. Once in a week or once in a month or once in a year? Daily. Every day. Regularly. So regular, generally in Kali Yuga, regular means once in a week. Spiritual practice means once in a week. How many times we eat in a week? We eat every day, no? Just like we chant Gayatri Mantra 3 times a day, we also eat 3 times a day. So eating is very important for our healthy body. In the same way, in order to have our healthy spiritual body, we have to water the seed of pure devotional service daily. That's why Prabhupada has introduced 1 hour Bhagavatam class in the morning, 1 hour Bhagavad Gita class in the evening. And Prabhupada said this is our sandwich program. If you have morning program and evening program, then whole day your whole activity will also become spiritualized. That is the sandwich program given by our founder Acharya. Very, very important. So coming to the point of watering. Watering means Shravan Kirtan. Hearing and chanting. And in the purport, Prabhupada is very, very carefully and very strongly recommending that in the name of hearing and chanting, we should not give up deity worship. So it's very, very interesting purport. Mahaprabhu is talking about Shravan Kirtan and Prabhupada is taking this opportunity to warn the devotees that in the name of hearing and chanting, don't give up deity worship. Why Prabhupada has mentioned like this? Prabhupada has also mentioned the reason. He said that if we are at the level of Haridas Thakur, there is no need of deity worship. Why? Because Haridas Thakur is chanting 24 hours a day. If you are in that position, no problem. No need of anything. Nothing you have to do. So one person came to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, I am to chant whole day. He said, Prabhupada, no problem, I will arrange everything. I will send you food also, but once in a day. After a few days, he was not visible. We want to chant, but we want to do other kinds of sensual activities, eating 3 times. But if you chant, then your all other propensities will be reduced, right? That is the symptom. So therefore, we should not artificially imitate Haridas Thakur. So our acharyas have given 2 lines. One is Pancharatriki Vidhi, one is Bhagavata Vidhi. Bhagavad Vidhi is hearing and chanting. Chanting of the holy name and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. And what is other line? Pancharatriki Vidhi, worshipping the deities. Because worshipping the deities help us to make our life very disciplined. Mangala Arati. It makes our life regulated. At the beginning of ISKCON I heard there was no Mangala Arati. Good news for many. But Prabhupada started Mangala Arati because he understood that in order to make devotees' life disciplined, Mangala Arati is very, very important. So that is Pancharatriki Vidhi, Mangala Arati, Guru Puja, Tulsi Arati, Gaura Arati. These are the different aspects of Pancharatriki Vidhi that make our senses engaged directly in the service of the Lord, and that will make us very disciplined in our spiritual practice. And Prabhupada has recommended very strongly for the Grihasthas, deity worship is a must, right, in Bhagavad Gita. So you have to follow the instruction of the founder Acharya in a very careful way. So Shravan Kirtan is very, very important. This is very most important activity in Bhagavad Vidhi. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atma Nivedanam. So out of 9 processes of devotional service, Shravan Kirtan are very, very important. So it is also mentioned by Prabhupada and the Acharyas, sadhaka at the beginning level, they should focus more on hearing, Shravan. Then when someone is more advanced, then he should do more kirtan. Then when someone is more advanced, then he should be absorbed in remembering Krishna. So there are different levels of devotees. But watering process, which is mentioned by Mahaprabhu here, is hearing and chanting, Shravan Kirtan. We have to hear Srimad Bhagavatam and chant the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We should chant and also hear the holy name. We should chant and hear Srimad Bhagavatam. So in that way, we regularly water the seed of pure devotional service. And Prabhupada said, getting the bij, the seed is initiation, diksha, and watering is shiksha. So getting the seed is one-time event. So getting diksha is also one-time event. But shiksha is continuous. Even after getting love of Godhead, the sadhaka continues his hearing and chanting. That will be explained by Mahaprabhu also. So this hearing and chanting is continuous process. That's why shiksha is very, very important. We have to hear regularly. And Prabhupada used to say, we have to hear attentively, very attentively. Then what happens? If we hear attentively, the sound vibration goes into the heart. There are different levels of hearing. One, those who are in Tamoguna, as soon as Kirtan begins, they feel it's a very wonderful moment to experience some higher taste of sleeping. So as soon as Kirtan begins, they start sleeping. That is a symptom of Tamoguna. And some devotees are very honest. They say that the freshness they get by sleeping during Bhagavatam class and Japa is much better than sleeping at night for 6 hours. So sleeping is because of Tamoguna. Those who are in Tamoguna, they love to sleep during classes, during Japa. That is Tamoguna. And those who are in Rajoguna, they will not sleep, but their mind will be somewhere else. Right? And they, after the whole class, they will say, oh, it was good class. What the speaker spoke, that I don't know, but it was good. Because he did not hear anything. So for them, it enters through one ear and goes out from the other ear. हिंदी में हम लोग बोलते इस कान से उस कान, इसका नाम इस कान. So that is Rajoguna hearing. But that is not recommended. So you have to hear in such a way that it enters into the heart. And that will be possible when you are attentive. That needs at least Sattva-guna. So hearing in Sattva-guna, that's why Bhagavatam, at the beginning, Sukadeva Goswami, Sutta Goswami says that we have to come to the platform of Sattva-guna. And how we can come to the platform of Sattva-guna? Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Because unless we are free from anarthas, nashto prayeshu avadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttamas loke bhaktir bhavati nishtiki. So our anarthas, unless it is, our anarthas are cleared, it is very, very difficult to situate ourselves in Sattva-guna, because that anarthas keep us in lower gunas. So in order to situate ourselves in Sattva-guna, our heart has to be free from anarthas. And what is the process? Nityam Bhagavata Seva. And Bhagavat means what? Book Bhagavat and devotee Bhagavat. You have to serve the Vaishnavas and also hear Srimad Bhagavatam regularly, every day. Then slowly, slowly, we can become free from anarthas, and when we are free from anarthas, then we can attentively hear. And what happens from attentive hearing? It is explained that if you hear from a realized person, result is very wonderful. Because a realized soul speaks from his heart. And in the heart of a pure devotee, Krishna resides as Govinda, not as Paramatma. So that sound vibration which comes out from the mouth of a pure devotee, that is very, very powerful. Why? Because it carries the aroma of the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna. It's very, very powerful sound vibration. And if someone with faith attentively hears that sound vibration and takes that sound vibration in his heart, then Krishna is transferred from the heart of that pure devotee to the heart of that sincere listener. And Prabhupada said that is the meaning of Diksha. That is real Diksha. Diksha is not changing the name, Diksha is not changing hairstyle, Diksha is not changing the dress. This is not real meaning of Diksha. Real meaning of Diksha is changing the heart. And how heart can be changed? When Krishna is transferred from the heart of the spiritual master to the heart of the disciple. And in 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, we can see that example, that Krishna appeared in the heart of Vasudeva. Vasudev means Shuddha Sattva. Krishna appears in that place which is free from three modes of material nature. So when our heart will be free from three modes of material nature, when our heart will be completely pure, in that heart Krishna will appear. So Vasudev was a pure devotee. That's why Krishna appeared in his heart. He was the ideal spiritual master. A pure devotee is the ideal spiritual master. Then his wife, Devaki, was the ideal disciple. She served her husband very faithfully. And by seeing the service of Devaki, Krishna was very pleased. And when Krishna is pleased by the service of the disciple to his spiritual master, then Krishna is transferred from the heart of the spiritual master to the heart of the disciple. And Prabhupada writes in the commentary, this is the real initiation. So real initiation takes place when Krishna is transferred in the heart of a disciple from the spiritual master. That is the purpose of our spiritual life. So Shravan Kirtan is very, very important. We have to do it regularly, constantly, and that will help us. In what way it will help? If you water properly, then that seed will sprout. Then let's see what happens. Upojiya Varelata Brahmanda Vedi Jai Biraja Brahma Lok Vedi Paro Brahma Pai. As one waters the Bhaktilata beach, the seed sprouts and the creeper gradually grows to the point where it penetrates the walls of this universe and goes beyond the Biraja river, lying between the spiritual world and the material world. It attains Brahma Loka, the Brahman effulgence, and penetrating through that stratum, it reaches the spiritual sky and the spiritual planet Goloka Vrindavan. This is transcendental creeper. You cannot see it. So this Bhakti Lata, although it's Lata, creeper, it does not need any tree support. This creeper is transcendental creeper. So how it goes? Bhakti Lata, it first penetrates the covering of this material universe. Then in between spiritual world and material world, there is a river called Biraja river. It reaches there. Then it enters into Brahma Jyoti. That is known as Brahma Loka, is written here. Then it goes beyond, penetrates that also, and goes to the spiritual world. And the topmost place of the spiritual world is Goloka Vrindavan. So that Bhakti Lata goes there. Then what happens? তবে যায় তদুপরি গোলক বৃন্দাবন কৃষ্ণ চরণ কল্পবৃক্ষে করে আরোহণ. Being situated in one's heart and being watered by Shravan Kirtan, the Bhakti creeper grows more and more. In this way, it attains the shelter of the desired tree of the lotus feet of Krishna, who is eternally situated in the planet known as Goloka Vrindavan, in the topmost region of the spiritual sky. So that Bhakti Lata goes to Goloka Vrindavan and he takes shelter where? At the lotus feet of Krishna. That is the perfection of our spiritual journey. The perfection is when you take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. So Bhakti Lata takes shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. Then what happens? Taha vistarita hoiya phale prema phal hiha mali seche nitya shravanadi jal. The creeper greatly expands in the Goloka Vrindavan planet, and there it produces the fruit of love for Krishna. Although remaining in the material world, the gardener regularly sprinkles the creeper with the water of hearing and chanting. So, very graphically, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is describing. Everything is very, very clear, right? No ambiguity. Although it is transcendental, invisible, but Mahaprabhu is explaining so wonderfully that we can see it. So, the creeper, devotional creeper also gives fruit. What is that fruit? Prema phal. The fruit of love of Godhead. And that is the purpose of our spiritual journey. Prema Pumartha Mahan, right? Mahaprabhu has described very wonderfully the essence of his teachings. Aradha Bhagavan Brajasatanaya Tadhama Vrindavanam Ramma Kachitupasana Brajabudhu Vargana Jakalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanamamalam Premapumartha Mahan Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhur Matamidam Tatradara Naparaha. In this verse, it is wonderfully explained the essence of Mahaprabhu's teachings. So Mahaprabhu has taught us who is our worshipable Lord. Our worshipable Lord is Krishna. Which Krishna? Brajandanandan Krishna. And what is our worshipable abode or dham? Vrindavan. And who are the topmost devotees? Ramma Kachit Upasana Brajabadhu Vargena Jakalpita. The gopis of Vrindavan, the way they worshipped, that is the topmost worship. They are the topmost devotees. We may say, what is the proof? Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanamamalam. The spotless Srimad Bhagavatam is the pramana. That is the evidence. And what is the goal of our life? Prema Pumartha Mahan. Love of Godhead is our goal of life. Pancham Purushartha. Generally people talk about Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. But Mahaprabhu came here not to give Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. He came here in this world to give Prema Bhakti, Braja Prema Bhakti, not Vaikuntha Prema Bhakti also. Braja Prema Bhakti. Bhakti of the devotees in Vrindavan. Prema Phal. That's why that devotional seed, Bhakti Lata, produces the fruit of love of Godhead. So what to do with that fruit? What to do with the fruit? Enjoy. No, you should eat the fruit. So, at the perfect stage, a devotee in his Siddha stage or perfectional stage, he enjoys that love of Godhead. And as a sadhaka, he constantly hear and chant and waters that seed of Bhakti Lata. So we have two Sarupa. When someone attains the perfection, attains love of Godhead, he attains his spiritual body. And in that spiritual body, he enjoys love of Godhead. And because he has a material body also in this world, at the sadhaka body, he does Shravan Kirtan. That is the perfect situation of a devotee in this material world. Clear? Very clear. Okay. Now, very simply, Mahaprabhu has taught us how to get love of Godhead. What is the process? Get initiation from a bona fide spiritual master. And what you get from that initiation? Bhakti Lata, Bij. And after that, what do you do? Plant it, then water it. Water it, then what will happen? Bhakti Lata grows, 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 and takes shelter of Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan. And then that Bhakti Lata produces fruit. What fruit? Transcendental fruit of love of Godhead. And that devotee enjoys that fruit. Very simple. Right? Then Mahaprabhu is talking about the problems, the obstacles on this path. That will be discussed in detail. The process is very simple, and in 2-3 verses he has given the perfection. Very simple. But that does not remain simple because of the following problems, which will be discussed in detail by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jodi Vaishnava Parad Uthe Hatimata Upare Bachinde Tar Sukhi Jai Pata. If the devotee commits an offense at the feet of a Vaishnava while cultivating the kripa of devotional service in the material world, his offense is compared to a mad elephant that uproots the creeper and breaks it. In this way, the leaves of the creeper are dried up. First problem. So problem begins with offenses. Then Mahaprabhu will talk about anarthas. 2 problems in our journey. First is aparad, and the second one is anarthas. So today, almost 9 o'clock, we'll talk about aparad, and day after tomorrow, right? Hopefully, day after tomorrow we'll talk in detail about anarthas. 6 varieties of anarthas Mahaprabhu talks about. So we'll try to discuss day after tomorrow, but today is aparad. So aparad, offenses, is compared to mad elephant. If in a garden, mad elephant enters, what happens? The whole garden will be destroyed. So our heart is like a garden where we are cultivating Bhakti Lata. But if you commit Vaishnava Parad, then that elephant will enter and destroy everything in our heart. Sukhi Jai Pata means our spiritual life will become dry. And after some time, Jiva Goswami explains, we will live the process of devotional service. There are different degrees of offenses, and there are consequent results of that kind of offenses. So, offense, Mahaprabhu took it very, very seriously. He delivered Jagai Madhai, no problem. But he did not give love of Godhead to his own mother because she committed offense at the lotus feet of Advaita Acharya. He did not only speak, he personally exhibited also. That he spoke here, but he also exhibited the result of Vaishnava Parad. But we take it very lightly because we have a understanding, chalta hai. Manage kar lunga. You can manage everything, but you cannot manage this because it is permanently there in the book of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It cannot be deleted. You cannot manage it. You can manage everything. Durvasha Muni wanted to manage. He said, you cannot manage this. You have to go back. I cannot help you. Even Krishna doesn't want to help in this business. Very, very serious. We should not be scared, but we should be scared also to some extent, but we should be very, very careful. That's why Mahaprabhu's life is the life to exhibit how to deal with the Vaishnavas. He demonstrated. What is the symptom of a intermediate devotee? He knows how to deal with the devotees. A Kanistha, he doesn't know how to deal with the devotees because for him there is no devotee in this world. For him there is only one devotee, he himself. That is a symptom of Kanistha. So, in order to stay in a devotee association, we need to have Madhyama platform. Unless we are at the Madhyama platform, we cannot be in the association of devotees. A Kanishta cannot. A Uttama cannot. For Uttama, everyone is a devotee except him. That is Uttama platform. And Kanishta, no one is a devotee except him. So Madhyama platform is very, very important. So therefore, Prabhupada wanted ISKCON devotees should be at the Madhyama platform, at least. Otherwise, it's very difficult, almost impossible to progress in spiritual life. So Vaishnava Parad, we should talk about positive things. Vaishnava Parad is negative activity. So how to counteract Vaishnava Parad? Sadhus, we have to do sadhu seva, Vaishnava seva. Name Ruchi, Jive Daya, Vaishnava seva. Three important activities Mahaprabhu has taught us. So Vaishnava seva, serving the Vaishnavas. Raghunath Das Goswami could not get the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu unless and until he did Vaishnava seva. And the best way to serve the Vaishnavas and please the Vaishnavas is to feed them Mahaprasad. Very, very important. Very, very important. So when we serve the devotees, then Guru is pleased. When Guru is pleased, Nityananda Prabhu is pleased. When Nityananda Prabhu is pleased, Mahaprabhu is pleased. That is the process. Chariya Vaishnava Seva, Nistarpaya Sekeva. So serving the Vaishnavas. Then as soon as we talk about serving the Vaishnavas, next question is, who is a Vaishnava? Right? It's a $1 million question. Who is a Vaishnava? So one associate of Lord Chaitanya asked the question to Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri. Mahaprabhu, we are Grihasthas. How to attain perfection in our life as Grihasthas? Mahaprabhu said, it is very simple. You have to do two things. What? Nam Seva and Vaishnava Seva. Then that devotee said, okay, Nam Seva I can understand, I will chant the holy name of the Lord, very simple. But in order to serve the Vaishnavas, how do I recognize who is a Vaishnava? Mahaprabhu said, that is also very simple. Whoever chants the holy name once, he is a Vaishnava. And devotees are very jubilant and hopeful. Some hope is there. But still they are doubtful also. So simple. Then after some time, again same question was asked to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu, who is a Vaishnava? Then Mahaprabhu said, who chants the holy name of the Lord all the time, 24 hours a day. He is a Vaishnava. Enthusiasm went down. Still they are not satisfied. Again same question was asked. Who is a Vaishnava? Then Mahaprabhu said, if someone, by seeing someone, one is inspired to chant the holy name of the Lord, he is a Vaishnava. So one question, three answers. Which one is correct answer? Generally people say, those who are new, they said, last one. That was the correct answer. All answers are correct. By answering three times, Mahaprabhu indicated or wanted to say there are three levels of Vaishnava. Kanishta Vaishnava. Who is a Kanishta Vaishnava? Who chants the holy name of the Lord once. Who is always chanting of the holy name is a Madhyama. And who inspires others to chant the holy name is a Uttama Vaishnava. But everybody is a Vaishnava. How to serve? There are different ways to serve, different levels of Vaishnava. Kanishta, we should honor from our heart. Madhyama, we should offer obeisances. Uttama, we should serve them. So in that way, we have to serve the Vaishnavas. But our mind is judgmental mind. There is no Vaishnava. So I was reading one letter from Prabhupada. He said, even if you think that there is no Vaishnava in ISKCON, even after that don't leave ISKCON. And he said, please consult the spiritual master. Just talking about him. So there should not be any excuse that I don't want to be in association of devotees. Having spiritual life without association of devotees is like a phantasmagoria. Does not exist. It's the biggest maya. Srila Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Prabhupada used to say, Nirjan Bhajan is the greatest, is the biggest maya. I can achieve perfection without Bhakta Sangha. It is very, very dangerous. And that happens, why? Because we commit Vaishnava Parad. So, Vaishnavas are like fire. Don't be scared. Spiritual master is also like fire. If you use it properly, nice result will be there. Just like fire, if you properly use it, you can cook nice food. But if you don't know how to handle fire, what will happen? You will be burnt. So for Vaishnavas, we have to keep respectful distance, so that we are not away, at the same time we are not burnt. So respectful distance is very, very important. We have to have respect. The fundamental principle of Vaishnava association is respect. Appreciate the devotees. When Mahaprabhu used to glorify devotees, he was like having thousands and thousands of mouths. And the devotees, those who are hearing, they are also celebrating like anything. That was Mahaprabhu's way of teaching how to appreciate devotees. But because of our conditioned state, we don't like to hear others' glorification. We like to hear our own glorification. As soon as glorification begins, we are waiting when my turn will come. Right? But our acharyas are explaining, if you like the glorification, means you are in a dangerous platform. Very dangerous. For an advanced devotee, own glorification is like a poison. But at least you should practice not to hear glorification. Very, very dangerous. Because when you hear, then we start believing it. That is the power of hearing. Prabhu, you are a pure devotee. Very pure. Very, very pure. When you hear again and again, then you start thinking, really, maybe I am a pure devotee now. That happens. That's why you have to have contemplation. Every Ekadasi, at least, Bhaktivinoda Thakur used to tell, we should contemplate, analyze whether I am advancing or I am falling down. Very, very important. You cannot be at one state, because devotional service is dynamic. Either you will go up or go down. You cannot be in one place. That is the system of devotional service. Therefore, coming down is very easy, right? You don't have to try, right? But going up is difficult. You have to practice. Time is, we have to have some question answer also, right? So I don't want to scare you more about Vaishnava Parad. So maybe day after tomorrow we can also start with some little Vaishnava Parad discussion. And how to avoid it. So then after that we will start anarthas. Okay? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, questions, comments, reflections?
Hare Krishna.
Somebody should coordinate. One side, one question from Prabhuji side, one question from Mataji side.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam sir. Maharaj, Vaishnava Aparad is the only Aparad, or are there any other Aparadas also?
Varieties are available.
But this is the most dangerous.
Most dangerous.
May I know which are the other aparadhas?
Nam aparad,
Okay.
seva aparad,
Dham aparadha.
dham aparad. List continues. Okay? Happy?
Thank you.
Varieties are there.
Mataji.
Any other question?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. When we deal with devotees, sometimes out of our nature or nature of the other the devotee we are dealing with, sometimes the way you deal with them, you deal with other devotee in a way that you think that my dealing to other with other devotee is normal, but in the process I may be offending him. So how to recognize that, Maharaj?
That is offending unknowingly. First, try to take care of offending knowingly. There are two levels, offending knowingly and offending unknowingly. So if you are not doing any aparadh knowingly, it's very good. But if you are doing unknowingly, the process to rectify is, every day we do Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubhayavacha Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. There are also different bhajans given by our acharyas, by which we can free ourselves from offenses committed unknowingly. Okay? Not clear?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Okay.
I have one question. First of all, thank you so much, Maharaj, for the enlightening session today evening. And Maharaj, it's mentioned in this purport that one gets the Bhakti Lata Bij only after initiation, Maharaj.
So what's your question?
My question is, not everyone will be knowing that aspect of going for initiation, and there are many other sampradayas, which they will be following. At the same time, they may not go for the initiation. Is it prerequisite for one to get bhakti should go for initiation?
Initiation is the beginning, according to the explanation given by Mahaprabhu. Then you get the Bhakti Lata Bij, the process. Then Shravan Kirtan is Shiksha. So Diksha and Shiksha both are important, but Diksha is the beginning, is the starting point, but Shiksha is a continuous process. If someone has taken initiation from a bona fide guru, he doesn't have to take initiation again, because Diksha is only one-time event. But Shiksha can be many, and Shiksha can be taken from many gurus. Okay?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, you mentioned about hearing the glorification is like a poison. But on the other hand, it said that we need to glorify the Vaishnavas. Then how do we connect both? Just glorifying in the space, just without any Vaishnavas? That is the one question. And following that, the devotees who have achieved the Siddha, they can enjoy the fruit of love of Godhead. But those who are doing the sadhaka, what is their inspiration?
Inspiration is Shraddha, instruction of the spiritual master, instruction of the scriptures. That is their inspiration. Faith in the words of the spiritual master and faith in the words of the scriptures.
But can't they take the glorifying as their inspiration?
What?
Can the devotees take the glorification from some other devotees as their inspiration to develop more
No.
devotees?
This is wrong inspiration. That is very dangerous. Very dangerous.
Even in right attitude?
No. Then you are accepting now that you are in that platform.
Okay.
That is pride. And if you are proud, then there is no chance of spiritual progress. It's like a suicide. Hearing on glorification is like a suicide. spiritual suicide. That's why when someone is glorified, generally in official way, gurus are glorified on Vyas Puja, but they don't take glorification, they immediately pass on to his spiritual master. And if they take that glorification, they will be burnt and fall down. And that happened, that's happening, and that will happen. Only one person is the object of glorification, that is Krishna. So our duty, when someone glorifies, that's natural, immediately pass on that glorification to his superiors. But if you think this is my glorification, then it's a matter of time only, will be doomed.
Hare Krishna.
Okay?
Okay. Thank you, Maharaj.
So this side, no question. Okay, no problem.
Today Sukirti Mata is not there.
Huh? So you should ask, yes.
Maharaj, can I ask another question?
Yeah, I know.
Maharaj, usually they say that.
Who say?
Huh?
Who say?
I mean the psychologists and others, the power of appreciation. Always appreciate the good thing in others. These kind of messages are being given. So, I mean, when we hear somebody praising us, should we leave that place and go away, or
We should not do things artificially. We like to hear our glorification. So you cannot leave also.
Okay.
But at the same time, you have to know, we are talking about spiritual journey. We are not talking about so-called material motivation.
Okay.
We are talking about how to attain love of Godhead. It's a serious business. It's not so-called motivation to work in this world, get some motivation to do this, do this. We are not talking about that. It's the journey of the soul. We are talking about that. Okay?
Clear.
So if you want to get love of Godhead, then we have to follow this. And if you want to be successful in this world, you have to follow.
But from a material point of view, it is okay to give some appreciation and praise.
That's the way the people get inspired, no?
Yeah, okay.
Salary increase, position increase, you have to give your high position, then pampering, all these things are the motivation. They'll tell you what you are not, and you believe what you are not. That is the material world, right?
Correct.
So, but spiritual life is built upon the truth, not the falsehood.
Correct.
Okay?
Thank you, Maharaj.
Can devotional service change one's nature? Because we see that 20 years back, a devotee or maybe myself also.
Speak on the mic, then others can also hear.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam. Can devotional service change the nature of the person? Because we see nature is so stubborn. We have seen so many examples after many years, 10, 15, 20. We can see the original nature still stays as maybe...
As it is.
Yeah, as it
Nature
is.
as it is.
Yeah.
Like Bhagavad Gita as it is. So, according to Bhagavatam, according to Shastra, yes, devotional service can change our nature. It's a powerful process. Process can bring a person from mode of ignorance to mode of passion to goodness and to pure goodness. That's why you are here. It works. But we have to take the medicine properly. Then it will work. Okay? So if it's not happening, means we are not taking the medicines properly. Doctors are perfect. Medicine is also perfect. But we are not taking it properly. That's why it's not working. Okay? Any other question? Last question.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, two questions actually. When we say Krishna Prema, that is loving Krishna, loving Godhead, love of Godhead, is it only to Krishna or all things related to Krishna we have to love?
Love of Godhead means, Krishna Prema means love for Krishna, that is specific. But love of Godhead means you can have love for any other form of Krishna. It's not that love can be only for Krishna. For Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we develop our love for Krishna because that is Mahaprabhu's teachings. But there are unlimited forms of Krishna. One can develop love for any other form. according to their parampara. All are perfect. Other incarnations. Okay?
Thank you, Maharaj.
Second question? Forgot.
Second question is, when we say respect Vaishnavas, what are the ways we can respect Vaishnavas?
First, you should accept their superior position. That's why Prabhupada said we should address all the devotees as Prabhu. They are the masters, we are the servant. That's the first step. Then, that is philosophical aspect. Then you have to practice it. Respect means what? It's not a lip service. If he is the Prabhu, then you should serve him. Then that is practical demonstration of your acceptance. That's a Vaishnava Seva. When you serve the Vaishnava, that is a practical demonstration of your respect for the Vaishnavas. Okay?
Thank you, Maharaj.